The Edge of 17. This is a 2016 comedy, coming-of-age drama story. And this film is directed by Kelly Fremon Craig. I believe that's her name, right? The plot is we meet this 17-year-old girl named Nadine Franklin, played by Haileesteinfeld, who has somewhat of a boring or complicated life because she's not that popular with school and she's not as popular as her hot twin brother named Darren. And basically her life has been crap, but in second grade as a young child, at 7 years old, she became friends with this girl named Christia, who became her best friend through childhood, even till Nadine's father Tom passed away after a heart attack while driving. It's not till both of them hit 17 and they're still in high school together, they've been friends for a long time. But it's not till one day Nadine's best friend Christian was sleeping with her brother and things get complicated than worse than before. What do I think of Edge of 17 is I really love this movie. I do. It's probably one of the best, most relatable teen comedy drama, probably since Juno, or maybe a few other comedy teen dramas or comedy stories you've probably seen. This film is just so relatable, so much going into this. It's just such a great film. I always watch it. It's one of those films you can just relate to, and all that stuff is going on behind the scenes. It's just beautifully written, really funny, charming, but yet very heartwarming. That nearly got me in tears a little bit, especially at the end. Let's just get into the cast itself. Let's start with the main star herself, Haileesteinfeld as Nadine Franklin, which you guys know me personally. I love Haileesteinfeld. She is my celeb crush. She's really talented, really beautiful woman, and just so much charisma in her performance. She's you see her really awkward, weird, but yet she's likable in the sense of the way. It's just so relatable. You can just see her awkwardness, and especially when she hangs out with her pals, especially with her best friend Christia, who is played by Haley Lou Richardson, who really, first you see her become supportive of her, and she's been there since childhood. But when you see Nadine goes into Darren's room, and you see her scenes Christia giving Darren the, let's just say, the downstairs, helping downstairs, you know what I mean. It's so awkward, weird, and she still freaks out, and she's doesn't know what to say to her. And Christia's tried to convince Nadine, say, look, I'm sorry, this is not what it looks like, it's not what it seems. But Nadine said, oh, what if I do it to your dad? In the burger restaurant where he said, oh, what if I do it to your dad and start giving him the hand job, which is pretty funny, I will admit. That's a bit of an embarrassment, but it's funny in relatable ways. Of course, her brother, Darren, who is played by Blake Jenner. I think that's the guy's name, Blake Jenner. His brother, he's just a dick. You see him, he's very popular. He's got out of college football. He's just into the sports. He's always keeping himself fit. And when he starts dating Christia, and Nadine gets envy on him that he's more popular than her, that she's just basically taking the L. Basically, she's basically the loser in the group, which I don't feel blame her. But at the end, he does show that he does care about Nadine, even though deep down that they both had their arguments about the whole Christian and her dating. But he does show at the end where he goes into admits that his life is not always that perfect, that he always loves Christia, even during her childhood days and even her early teen days as well. Of course, let's talk about this other character named Erwin Kim, played by Hayden Zestu, I believe. Ewan, who is this awkward teenage classmate to Nadine in the same classroom as Woody Harrelson, we'll talk about in a moment, who's very awkward towards her, and he's asking her saying questions, and he's he's the only person in this movie who really likes Nadine, even though Nadine does like him, but he doesn't has a big crush on him or fancies him. But he does admire her. He does have that interest towards her, and of course they're both awkwardly doing stuff together, which is awkward. Very interesting stuff. Of course, we do get the moment where both of them at this amusement park, we do see Erwin and Nadine on this Ferris wheel, and they both had this conversation. And of course, Erwin nearly getting to kiss her, and Nadine said, "What are you doing?" It's kind of a little awkward moment. Like, you know, we were having a moment there, but of course, he starts saying, "Get off the ride." Amazing stuff. And of course, let's talk about this scene where that Nadine accidentally sent a text to this guy named Nick, who's basically the guy that Nadine likes, and he's trying to talk to him in the pet store and the fish aquarium place, but then didn't turn out well. And of course, the moment she runs away from her mum's work, which her mum is a bit of a psychopath in the film, like, who doesn't give a much crap about Nadine's life and all that jazz, and her friendship or her relationship with her brother. And the moment she runs away and goes to this park and sends this split text to Nick, the guy he likes, and of course, she accidentally sent it by accident with the whole, "Oh, I want your mouth in my you-know-what." And this makes me laugh, even though it's cringing, we've all been there type of moment. But I'm not gonna lie, it's just a hilarious moment, but deep down it's like, I can relate to that. I can relate to that shit. But anyway, of course, she goes to the school that he meets her teacher named Mr. Berter, played by Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson, he's great. It doesn't matter what movie he's in, he's always the likable teacher. Really likable for the most part, and he does deep down, he always listens to Nadine's problems, especially when he's reading the text back to what she sent to Nick, and he goes, "Oh, look, just get yourself a yogurt, get yourself something to eat, calm yourself down, it'll be all right." And of course, when the moment when she goes on this date to this guy, and of course, not only is he not interested, that he doesn't interested in knowing her, she just wants to have sex with her. Awkward. And of course, he goes to him for help, to be with him, just to get her support, and just wants to make sure he's okay. And of course, this film is everything I want this film to be. It's just, there's so many great moments, and this film, honestly, when this film came out, I was regret not seeing this movie. I'm glad I watched it on Netflix and I got this on Blu-ray. There's so many things to like about this movie. There's so many things to like. You know, Haileesteinfeld's performance, always the great one. I think she's always the high spot. If you don't like some of the films that she's in, but she's always the bright spot. That if this film sucks, this film, she would have been the best part, but thankfully this film turned out to be her best performance. This is always will be. She's always great in other stuff, like Hawkeye in the MCU as Kate Bishop, or Emily Junk in Pitch Perfect, or that Moon thing with Ezra Butterfield, what she was in. I can't remember the film, but I've not seen that yet. But what this film does, it kind of shows this sort of good message at the end. It just shows you that it's okay to have an awkward life, or you have so many things going through in life you as a teenager, which I can relate to. There's so many things I can relate to this movie. You know, every time I watch it, I can find some relatability to this film, and so many things I can talk about. This film is might go down as one of the best coming of age stories, and probably the best comedy films. And the humor, for the most part, like I said, it's really funny. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like it's just throwing joke and a joke just to make it funny. It's relatable jokes. This is really funny, really smart, very clever, very touching, very heartwarming, I would say, for the most part, and a very relatable coming-of-age story about being the age of the 17. That's no pun intended. My rating of Edge of 17 is a cinematic masterpiece. Yes, this film is amazing. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you let me know in the comments down below, tell me what do you think. Do you love it? Do you like it? Or do you think it's alright? Or do you hate it? Let me know in the comments down below. And of course, guys, until next time, see ya!